because we have got, oh man, we've got just about 50 people on board, and I'm excited about that. So without further ado, let's get Chris McCaskill in here to introduce our guest speaker. Chris.
Great. And Dr. Quintero, you'll want to unmute. There we go. I really appreciate your kind patience, Dr. Quintero. We usually don't have, we usually have a very short preliminary time to discuss the club business. But thank you for being patient with us. And I know you're very, very busy with the opening of the new Hospital Joya. We are privileged to have you. Dr. Quintero is going to tell us a lot about the hospital and what we can expect. And the other thing that really interests me about Dr. Quintero is that he has a very deep interest in wellness and health management. And this is a field of study that's increasing internationally. The citizens of San Miguel are going to have broader access to tools for living healthy in our homes and in our working environments, our social environments, and that is a real asset. Dr. Quintero got his medical degree at the Universidad de Guadalajara. He received training at the Hospital Valentin Gómez Farias in Guadalajara and at the Hospital Regional de Puerto, Vallarta. But the other interesting thing about Dr. Quintero is his strong interest and skill set in hospital administration from a young age. In 2009, he co-founded a civil organization association called the Medical Students of the State of Jalisco. Then in 2012, he co-founded an association of residents of Jalisco. And from 2014 to 2017, he was the medical coordinator of Hospital San Javier Marina in Riviera in Puerto Vallarta. He was very, very active in the whole issue around quality of care. I remember when that became very, more popular or more intense than ever before, going back to the late 90s. And so he was a forerunner in that whole endeavor. So Dr. Quintero, without any further ado, I welcome you and we're looking forward to hearing you.
Thank you very much. And first of all, I think that I owe you an apology because I was calling you Mr. on the emails instead of Miss. So sorry about that. Secondly, sorry for my bad English. I will try to make myself understand so you will understand that situation, okay? Well, thank you for the introduction, Ms. McCaskill. As I was telling you in the emails, it is a great pleasure for me to be talking in front of the members of the Mid-Day Rotary Club in San Miguel de Allende. And I hope that you find this topic interesting. Please feel free to ask any question if you have it or any doubt, please. Okay, so as Ms. McCaskill said, my name is Carlos Quintero. I'm 33 years old. I'm the medical director of Hospital Joya in San Miguel de Allende, and I will be sharing with you a summary of services that the hospital provides, so you can have an idea of what is our project in San Miguel de Allende. Thank you very much. Just to tell you a little bit more about me, I was born in Manzanillo, Colima, which is a coastal city in the west part of the country. And I was raised almost all my life in Puerto Vallarta, which is another coastal city and one of the main touristic places in the country. I don't know if I can share you a little slideshow that I have prepared for you. I'll try to do it. Is it possible? There it is. Okay, so we'll start with it. This is me. We already talked about it briefly. And well, I'm very happy now to be living in San Miguel de Allende. First, because, as you know, it is a magical place with beautiful people, amazing weather. And secondly, because it reminds me to Puerto Vallarta, where we have also important foreign community. And in regards of medical matters, we have some experience on treating medical necessities of the foreign community as well in Puerto Vallarta. I will tell you a little bit of what is Grupo Médico Joya, where the hospital in San Miguel de Allende belongs. Grupo Médico Joya is a conjunction of different health companies as hospital, clinics, laboratory, and imaging cabinets, mainly located in the city of Puerto Vallarta, with more than 20 years of experience, and that is now expanding. San Miguel de Allende is the first hospital outside Puerto Vallarta, and we will shortly see more of our hospitals in other cities of the country. The mission of the group has always been to guarantee medical services with the highest quality and safety standards, to give the best experience possible along every step of the stay of the patient in the hospital. And that's why our hospitals are certified by this national bureau, which is the most important health authority in Mexico. This bureau brings the best medical practices lined up with international standards like the ones that the Joint Commission International has. And one of the things that make us different is that we try to be close with our patients, bringing speaker programs, health fairs, also programs of health education so people can understand what they are having, care themselves, and prevent diseases. And when it's necessary, well, activate the right protocols to access the medical attention in Mexico. But what about our hospital in San Miguel de Allende? Let me give you the welcome. As a hospital, we know that, I know that a hospital is a place that you never decide to go by a choice. It is a necessity. And well, here we are trying to very responsibly provide the best medical services. Hospital Joya then is a fully equipped urban hospital with more than 90 different specialists on call, and that is specifically specialized on emergencies. As a hospital of emergencies, we have 2 ambulances that are from our own. One is an intensive care transport, and the second one is a basic patients transport. We have ER specialists 24/7 in the emergency room. We have also intensive care medicine specialists 24/7 in the ICU. And I would like to highlight that having ER doctors and intensive care medicine specialists is such an achievement of Hospital Joya, because this is the only hospital in San Miguel de Allende that has this kind of specialists working as part of the staff. They don't have to come in a call or to call in, which makes all the difference in the moment of treating a critical patient. I would also like to tell you that we count with neurocritic subspecialty that allow us to treat advanced stroke protocols, and cardiac interventionists, the ones that put stents and open up obstructed veins and arteries. We count with top technology equipment for the treatment of kidney failure and metabolic disorders, which is called PrismaFlex. And we have also state-of-the-art mechanical ventilators called Puritan Bennett 980 that are not only to treat patients with COVID-19, any severe condition like a heart attack and stroke, a polytraumatized patient might require a ventilator when the patient is critically ill. As a hospital of emergencies, we have 2 operating rooms for both programmed or emergency surgeries, and it can be performed all the way from naval hernias to spinal surgery as well. And well, our quality standards makes the sterile protocols very, very strict. This is just an image of our recovery area of the surgical unit, which is also well and fully equipped. And well, when our patients do not longer need to stay in the emergency room or the emergency area, we count with 11 private inpatient rooms with all the amenities to make the stay of the patient comfortable, like smart TV, cable service, entertainment platforms, air conditioning, heating system, and emergency call buttons on the head of the bed, and of course in the bathroom and shower. I would like to tell you as well that we count with a house call service for those patients not seriously ill that would prefer to have a consult at home. I'm proud to say that we recently closed a deal with Hotel Aqua. We're very happy and thankful for that trust put on us by Grupo Posadas. And last but not least, our COVID unit, which it is separated by the rest of the hospital for protocols and physical barriers. What we try to do is to avoid the cross-contamination from patients having the virus and patients going to the hospital for other reasons. I'm proud to say that we have all the experience in technology for the comprehensive treatment of these patients with COVID-19, with 7 beds, 7 ventilators, high flow oxygen therapy, which in many cases, this system allows the patient to have an extra chance before to be intubated. And we have had success with some cases in the hospital. And of course, which is a more important, the experience and the knowledge of our critical care staff being there 24/7. And so far, this is what I have prepared for you about the services of the hospital. I don't know if you have any questions so far.
Well, I guess we'll wait till the end of the presentation.
Right.
Very good. Thank you. Well, I was asked to discuss some points regarding pandemic concerns. And one of those questions were the conversion of the hospital versus new construction, the challenges that the health system was facing at the beginning and now with the pandemic. So I might say that the pandemic was a complete challenge for both private and public sectors. And I think that the first dilemma that we faced was the question of, do we convert the hospital and do we treat only patients with COVID-19? Or we make a new construction or an adaptation of the hospital to treat those patients? Of course, that both decisions were not easy. In one hand, we had people that were going to be left out from having access to medical attention if the hospital was converted to treat only patients with COVID-19. And in the other hand, not every hospital has or had the sources to build a special wing to treat only patients with COVID-19. What our group made was construct a new area. So our hospital counts with a special wing with 7 beds to treat patients with COVID-19. And that means that we have to design protocols at the entrance of the hospital to triage those patients with suspicion of having the virus. And we made those protocols to take them for a critical pathway to go to the new area that treats only COVID-19. Of course, that the people working with us, the staff, were trained to use special protection equipment, and it was a whole challenge. And of course, the sanitization protocols were changed from the usual ones to more thorough ones to achieve this new goal broader disinfectation or sanitization. Another of the questions was, most patients be transferred outside or will need to be transferred outside of San Miguel de Allende to treat moderate to severe cases of COVID-19. Perhaps at the beginning, where the cases were numerous, perhaps the answer will be yes. Now, I think that San Miguel de Allende has enough hospitality beds to treat severe and moderate cases of COVID-19. Our hospital, Hospital Joya, has, as I said, a special unit to treat those cases with 7 ventilators. We have another 3 in the regular ICU. So in case of any necessity, we can just upgrade the ventilators on the area. We have this beautiful high flow oxygen system to treat those patients before an intubation. Special stock of medications required. Some of them are steroids, some of them are antivirals, strong antibiotics, trained staff, and of course the critical staff available 24/7, also fully trained. Most of them were trained on hospitals of concentration with more than 600 beds just for the treatment of patients with COVID-19. Another of the question was, will the vaccines diminish some of the concerns about the pandemic? I would say yes. We are already seeing less cases, and possibly the behavior will continue to be the same, but we don't have to diminish the importance of the hygiene measurements like the hand washing, social distancing, using the mask. Let's remember that the goal of the vaccination is to reduce the likelihood to acquire the infection, but you can have it. Although you are vaccinated, you can catch the virus. But another of the goals is, if you got it, if you got the infection, the odds to develop a severe disease is less. So I think that yes, the vaccinations will change some of those concerns, and hopefully we're facing the end of the pandemic, but the hygiene measurements need to continue still required. Another of the question was, is there more that the public and the medical professionals can do in the face of the pandemic? I will say, turning to the same recommendations, hygiene measurements, people going to get the vaccinations, because there are a lot of people do not believe on the benefits of the vaccination. And please go to a doctor upon the first symptoms. Sometimes going after a few days after the first symptoms only spreads the virus to more people and diminish also the likelihood of survival. So those will be like the cornerstone that I would recommend. And well, that's pretty much what I have prepared for you today. Please be free to ask any question or doubt. And thank you very much for the time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Quintero. Nori is telling me that we're having a little bit of audio problems. Can I get some feedback from others?
There's a little bit of an echo, so I don't know how we can take care of it. Doctor, if you can, go ahead and stop your screen share so we can get a full view. And I think it's sounding better now. Does everyone agree?
Yeah, it's okay.
All right.
Okay. David, you had a question that I'm going to ask you to go ahead and broach if you care to. I think you can probably word it in a way that will make sense to the audience and to Dr. Quintero. Do you want to approach it?
Yeah, can you hear me? Dr. Quintero, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Thank you so much. Gracias por Veniendo hoy. Doctor, as you very well know, we had several other private hospitals in the same place as your hospital is now. Going back to the time when I got here, it was Hospital de la Fe, and then it was H+, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yes.
that's the reason I'm asking you this question. At the beginning of the pandemic, which you remember very well, and all of us do, let's say March of last year, 2020,
Yes.
the hospital, I think it was H+, right? Quickly closed down, completely closed down suddenly. And the only message that we had, we meaning the public, was that, you know, perhaps at some future time, it will reopen. And now it's reopened in the form of La Joya. My question is, do you know why H+ closed down at the beginning of the pandemic when we needed it so much, the beds? And my second question is, do you have any members of the previous board on your present board at La Joya?
Thank you for the question. To be honest, I don't know the reasons for Hospital H+ closed. And I don't know if it was a coincidence that the pandemic started or not. But no, we are not related with Hospital H+ or other hospitals before us. We don't have any member of the previous board in this new board. As I said on the presentation, Hospital Joya is part of Joya Medical Group, which comes from Puerto Vallarta, with more than 20 years of experience. And this is a new hospital. Although the facilities or the geographic place is the same, the facilities were remodeled, were changed. The hospital is newly and fully equipped. Doctors are new as well, meaning the staff. And no, we don't have any kind of relationship with other hospitals former.
Gracias, doctor. Thank you for answering it so clearly. Muchas gracias. And buena suerte.
Gracias, Mr. Postman.
Question. By the way, I'm very, very impressed. I had no idea that hospital could be that well equipped. The question I need to answer is, you didn't say anything about your laboratory. Do you have lab services?
Yes, and that's something that my board will kill me because I forgot. Yes, we have our own laboratory and image services. We have an X-ray machine. We have 2 ultrasound systems. We have a CT scan machine, which is a 64 cuts detector, Toshiba one. And we'll be having also an MRI coming next in the next 3 to 4 weeks. As well, we have a full laboratory in the hospital. It is important to say that we made a partnership, and now it is part of Hospital Joya, with the SEI cabinet, which was before in front of the Comercial Mall. So that is now our laboratory and imaging department.
Second question. As
Yes.
you know, San Miguel de Allende has an arsenic problem in the water. In fact, my wife had arsenic poison and got tested. Do you also ready to test for arsenic poisoning?
Yes, actually, minerals and toxins are checked by COFEPRIS, which is the bureau that regulates the health institutions in Mexico. And part of it is testing the water. They ask us to give them a proof that the water is ready to be used for processes of sterilization and also for regular processes. And we have filtration by 3 ways in our hospital as well in the basement.
But you can also test patients to see if they have arsenic poisoning.
We don't have a protocol, but it is interesting now that you say it. I mean, to be aware of it, and perhaps we can make some protocols randomly in order to catch arsenic levels in blood.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome.
Okay, we now have a question from Tom Schneider about how long do you anticipate we'll need the special COVID facilities? He's noting that many members of the older population who use private hospitals are getting vaccinated, although I don't know what our ratio is of vaccinated to unvaccinated now. What do you think, Doctor?
On how long do we continue to have the COVID facilities ready?
Yes.
We are not even thinking on closing it. We think that the pandemic is going down and the numbers that we have been seeing are much less. We are hoping that the vaccination is making also its work, but by seeing the behavior that the pandemic is having in some parts of Asia and some parts of Europe, and because whatever has happened there is going to happen to us until it's not said by the national rules that we are officially now out of the pandemic, we won't close the facility.
Okay, thank you. Lee
Well-
Carter notes that you still have consulting offices in the hospital premises, and he'd like to know what the relationship is between the hospital and the various consulting offices.
Thank you. We have our own medical offices. They are not much. They are 6 only. And we have cardiologists, internist, orthopedist surgeon, general surgeon, a gastroenterologist, and that's what we have in our offices. But we also have partnership for, I mean, a work together with the other 2 wings of the hospital. The one on the right, which is from Dr. Arturo Barrera, with their different specialists, and the part of the left below. So it is not ours, but we have partnership to work with them. And as I said, we have a database of more than 90 different specialists on call. And in the hospital, we have our staff specialized on emergencies.
Thank you. Cynthia
Welcome.
Blanton is asking how, if a person needs to take an ambulance to your hospital, how would they do that? Who would they call?
Okay. I think that I can write a message on the chat, so I'll give you the number there. You call directly to the reception, and they will transfer you with the paramedics. Just give me a second, please.
Sure.
Sure.
Now, have I missed anyone? I believe I've seen all the questions that have been posted.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone would like to post anything, now's the time.
Now is the time. I'm writing just right now the number of the hospital so you can call for an ambulance.
Okay. And while you're doing that, Doctor, Kim, oh, there we go. There's a phone number, and I'm going to go ahead and read it in case anybody isn't accessing the chat. That number is 415-152-5900.
Correct.
Lauren Osornio asks, can your lab do blood tests for immunoglobulins G, A, and M, and for free light chains?
We have them, and the laboratory tests that we don't have here, we send them to a laboratory of reference to Querétaro or Mexico City. So the answer is yes, we definitely can do it.
Okay, great. And Kim is wondering, how easy will it be to communicate in English if one goes to your hospital?
Thank you. Well, that's a very good question. As Grupo Médico Joya, that it's located in Puerto Vallarta, and in high season, our population of patients, like 80 or 90%, are from the US and Canada. We care about having people speaking English in our hospitals. All the bureau, meaning the administrator, myself, the one in charge of the admissions, and the public relationships lady, we all speak some English, like me. And many of the staff in the reception does it. And if it is not 100%, there's always one that speaks good English. The nursing staff, we also try to have always one person who speaks English by department, and all the doctors speaks English as well. The ones in the ER and also the ones on the inpatient floor.
Lauren has a follow-up question about the lab work. If you send certain tests to Querétaro, how long will it take to get results? I know that can vary, but what do you have to say about that?
Right, it depends on the reactive. It depends on what the lab test is. But usually the ones that we send outside San Miguel de Allende takes 7 to 10 days.
Okay, and it would be, some of these tests might take just as long no matter where they were analyzed, depending on physiology, issues like that. Is that correct?
Sorry, say that again.
Well, you mentioned it could take 7 to 10 days, and that may be
Right.
the same case, even if you were able to do the lab work here in San Miguel, depending on the nature of the test, correct?
Well,
Not all
the ones that
tests
we do in San Miguel de Allende are the regular ones. The ones that we send outside are the special ones. Those that are maybe the 1 to 5% of all the tests. But no, to have a lab test result here in San Miguel de Allende takes from an hour and a half to perhaps 4 hours. It's not much.
Okay.
Of course, it depends on how on what it is. If you ask us for a culture, I don't know, nasal secretion or whatever, by the nature of the test, it will take 3 days to 5 days, no matter where you do it. But the ones that we do in San Miguel de Allende are really fast.
Very good. Just in case somebody does not have their application muted, please double check and make sure it's muted. We're getting a little bit of interference. Lauren is asking, what is the doctor's phone number?
The doctor's phone number.
Your phone number.
My phone number, I'll give it to you right now.
Okay.
Are you ready to?
You're a brave man.
We'll all be calling you for the next 24 hours.
You know what? I'm used to do it also in Puerto Vallarta, and that's the way I like to have the communication with my patients. So it is 322-193-5001, and that's from Puerto Vallarta. I will repeat it. Is 322-193-5001. And I also put I will write down my email address on the chat, which is cquintero@hospitaljoya.com.
Okay.
Well, that's pretty amazing. I don't think I've had my family doctor in Austin, Texas for 20 years, and I would always have to go through
Yeah. Good luck.
The secretary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
I blame my boss, Dr. Joya, he converted me to this.
Okay. And I will read the your telephone number again, because we're getting questions. It's
Sure.
322.
322-193-5001.
Very good. All right.
Very good, Chris.
Did I miss anyone? Is
I don't think so.
anybody waiting for an answer that we have not found?
I think we're good.
I think we're good, Doctor. I so appreciate you're making the time for us in these busy times. And I think everybody has been very, very interested in learning more about the hospital. So we appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you,
Sure.
Doctor. To show our appreciation, the Mid-Day Rotary Club of San Miguel de Allende presents this certificate of appreciation to you for your presentation to our club today. A donation of 10 polio immunizations will be made in your honor to the End Polio Now campaign, and we will email this certificate to you. If we were doing our meetings in person, we would be able to hand it to you. But again, we really appreciate your presentation today. Thank you so much for being here. Chris,
Thank you.
Chris, can you tell us a little bit about who's going to be our guest next week?
Yes. Next week, we will have Dylan Terrell with Caminos del Agua. Most of you are familiar with the efforts he's made. I think he's been around for any number of years in San Miguel, doing work to help ensure access and quality of our water system. So I'm looking forward to that.
Very good. Thanks, Chris. Tom Schneider, you have a word.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew our website, which is Rotary SMA Midday. That's MI with 2 Ds, midday with 2 days, .org. You can go there and find out about membership. There's also a very interesting video about some of our projects, and we encourage you to go there. That's RotarySMAMidday.org. And any donations you'd like to give us, we have a number of places that we put them, and we do a tremendous amount for the community. Thanks. Back to you, Skip.
All right, very good.
Skip,
I want to thank all of you for being here. We had a great turnout today, and I love to see that. Yes.
What
Yes.
happened to Paco?
Oh, thanks for asking, Gary. Because of the election, he's still in a kind of a lockdown mode. He's not really allowed to speak. So he'll be with us next week. He will be with us next week.
Scenario.
Yeah. All right. Very good. We had a great turnout today. And I'm hoping, if you enjoyed the meeting, tell your friends and come on back next week. But right now, have a good week. This meeting is adjourned.